Later this month, an American company is again going to search for the wreckage of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. And you'll surely remember, the Boeing 777 bound from Malaysia to Beijing vanished from radar shortly after takeoff back in 2014, 239 people on board. Satellite data showed that it took a turn from its flight path, and it was suddenly going south into the far southern Indian Ocean. And some debris has, in fact, washed ashore off Madagascar and on Reunion Island. The bulk of the plane, though, and its passengers remain missing. We want to bring in NBC aviation analyst Jeff Guzzetti to talk about all of this. He's a current NBC analyst, former NTSB and FAA investigator. Jeff, you and I talked about this briefly on the phone. This isn't the first try to find this plane, and Ocean Infinity is trying again now that the weather has improved down there. But does it have a real chance of success this time?
I'm not sure, Tom. That's a great question. Ocean Infinity is going to try for the second time. Their first attempt was in 2018, and that was after an Australian government attempt years before that. So this is the third search attempt, the second for Ocean Infinity. It's in waters that are roughly 5 miles deep, but they seem to have decided that there's certain key areas that they think the wreckage might lie, and they're going to go after them with the assets that they have.
So, while you're on the topic of how deep this wreckage might be, if it is in fact there, and satellite pings would suggest that is in fact where it is, in that area about 5,800 square miles off of Australia, if it is there and it's 4 to 5 miles deep, is there any hope of ever recovering it?
It is like finding a needle in a haystack. So,
and by the way, it's in a mountain range, right? It's in a mountain range that's described as an underwater Swiss kind of high country.
That's correct. If you can imagine a mountain range submerged in 5 miles of water, that's the kind of terrain, the ocean subsurface, that they need to find this thing. The challenge, I think, is to find it, right? So they're going to use side scan sonar that you see there. They're going to be towing that. They'll use a number of remote operated bathyspheres that go very deep. And if they can actually pinpoint the wreckage or paint something that looks like wreckage, well, then, they'll have to very meticulously raise that wreckage, or at least get the flight recorders to try to solve this 11-year-old mystery.
Yeah, if physically they can. Let me ask you this. We've always had this chatter about the theories, the speculation, the rumors about what happened here to the plane. What do you believe is the most prominent and likely scenario?
In my mind, Tom, and it's just my opinion based on everything I know, I think this was an intentional act, right? I think one of the flight crew, probably the first officer, took this airplane away from its flight path, perhaps killed the crew by asphyxiating the crew. I just don't know. But it just seems to be an intentional act to me. It does not have the earmarks of any kind of mechanical malfunction. There were no Mayday calls. In fact, there's evidence that transponders were turned off from the cockpit. Yeah. So it's, in my mind, it's intentional.
Well, we will watch closely. Again, they're going to start the search again towards the end of the month. Jeff Guzzetti, thanks very much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or watch live on our YouTube channel.